Right, let's start catching up. Empty pockets. I hate empty pockets. Welcome, Whovians, to the review of The Woman Who Fell to Earth. We'll be catching up with Series 11. So over the next few days, I will be catching up with the 4 stories that I missed while reviewing over Series 11 because of just due to the time I created my channel, which was 3 weeks ago, which is mental. Again, I'm just going to thank you guys again because this channel has done brilliantly. 3 weeks, 18 subscribers, and 551 views at the time of recording, and probably not too far away from 100 likes overall. Wow, that is a lot. So thank you again, you're awesome. And for when I hit 25 subscribers, since it's not too far away, I've already planned what I'll be doing. So for a whole month, I will be I'll be uploading a video every single day, and each video there will be one shout out to someone who's commenting in the description, and if it's a question, then I'll read out and answer. If not, I'll just read out the comment and say something that's relevant to the comments. So if you want your comments reading out, subscribe and it might get read out. But anyways, enough talk about the future. Let's talk about the past. So, The Woman Who Fell to Earth was obviously Jodie Whittaker's debut. It was Chris Chibnall's era's first story, with Graham, Ryan and Yaz's debut, and Grace's only story. I'm going to say that, assuming that she's not coming back, because I don't want her to come back, because I think it's so much better to have someone who's dying. And by the way things are looking, it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like she's actually going to stay dead. She's sad, but it's good, because it keeps that fear of death now for the main cast. So yeah, and I'll get onto that a little bit later. But so, let's just talk about the main part of this story, Jodie Whittaker. I thought this was really good for her. I remember a lot of people saying she was really good, although she didn't have that moment, and she still hasn't had a moment of recording this video, which I'm up to the Witchfinders, and it's episode 9 in a few days. But she had a satisfactory moment to start people accepting her as a doctor, not one that defines as doctor immediately, just like Matt Smith did in the 11th Hour when he scared off the Atraxi. But the scene where she says about now she knows who she is, I thought that was good enough. But I thought she was really good. Acting wise, great. She was instantly really likable. She had funny moments. She had serious moments. She didn't have an angry moment. We had to actually wait till episode 5 to have that angry moment. But she had a lot of good moments in this, and her performance is definitely probably one of the best things about this story. Yeah, so I'm now going to go all the way to the other side and talk about the villain. Now, as you probably know, from episode 1 to episode 8, there haven't been an amazing amount of good villains. I'm actually going to go through all the villains just so you know what I mean if you haven't actually watched Series 11. Or if you don't really know what I mean. You've had the Stenza, who are good. Flying Rags. Krasko, who is very forgettable. Donald Trump's duplicate. A teddy bear. What was it for Demons of the Punjab? I liked that episode, but what was the villain? I don't actually know. I'm just going to say, Krem's Demons. You'll know what that means if you've watched the episode. You had Charlie. And then you had Mud Zombies. And if you want to hear my thoughts on them, go and watch the Rich Finders Review, which will be in the playlist that this is also on. So do click on that video if you want to see my thoughts on the Mud Zombies. But the Stenza, I thought they were really good. I really liked them, and I have one thing that I wish with them. I wish they actually weren't in a story. I would have preferred if they were in another story where they could focus on them a little bit more, and if there was more of them, like a small army just came to this planet and started invading it, and then it ended up being more of a battle between the Doctor and the companions versus the Stenza. That's the one thing I would prefer the Stenza if they were in a different story. Something like that. I think that would have made the Stenza really good, because I really liked them in this, and they weren't even the main focus. They were far below the main focus. They were there to make there some threat. Make there some threat. Great English. Really good English. But, yeah, I thought they were really good, and the Stenza theme I thought was really good. It really did create like a threat. It really did help with the threat. You know, that sort of something that I don't even know what the instrument was used, but it was really good. And the design of it is really cool. I'm not sure about the blue face though. I kind of would have preferred it if it was like something like grey or really light blue. But that's just a nitpick. It's not something that really bothers me. And the teeth as well, that's kind of gruesome for a 6:55 family show. And you could even hear the teeth cracking or like scraping against the skin or doing something when the Stenza was Tim Shaw. How could I forget Tim Shaw? Yes, I'm calling him Tim Shaw, not Shim Shaw, or however you say his name, because I'm with Jodie. I don't know how to say his name properly. But yeah, it's even when Tim Shaw was speaking, you could hear the teeth crackling. Yes, they're crackers. God, I can't speak today. So yeah, now I'm going to get on to Graham and Lion in this story, and I remember coming out of this about half an hour after watching it. I was like, okay, right, I've stopped thinking about the Doctor. Graham, Ryan, Yaz. Graham, ha 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 ha, I love you. Ryan, I really liked. I'm not massive. I like him now, like from where I am in the Witchfinders, but he seems to have just gone downhill a little bit. You know, it's just the focus just seems to just left him a little bit and just left him at one point, and that point goes down very slowly. And they're all great at acting. I don't think any of them are bad at acting. I think there's one scene where I think Yaz had acted a little bit, and that's when she touched the space pod, I think it was, that Tim Shaw was in. I think she reacted as if she tapped something, as if she just tapped a bogey, and like, oh god, I just tapped a bogey. But I think because of how it said it was freezing cold, and the way Ryan reacted, I thought she would have gone slowly, tapped it, but quickly took away her hand and sort of, you know, maybe rubbed it, because that's what people do for some reason when a hand gets cold. Not that ever warms it up, or maybe that's just me. But yeah, it's a little bit nitpicky, but I think that's the only issue I've actually seen with the companions at all. with acting. But Yaz, she was very forgettable in this story. She was just there. I said this in Saranga the drama. I like Yaz now. She's okay. But she's definitely the most, like, she's definitely been forgotten about the most out of all the companions, and she was really forgettable in this. Like, I remember coming out of it half an hour. I love you, Graham. Ryan, man, I fell for you. But yeah, so I was like, hang on, I'm not so. Well, what does Yaz actually do in this story? She don't really do a massive amount, apart from supporting Ryan, which I thought that seems very nice. But if Yaz just felt there, and just for the sake of having 3 companions, which I didn't like. But yeah. So yeah, next thing that I want to get on, I want to talk about the music, because the music in this episode for Sagan's Akinoola's debut episode of music, I thought it was great, and the 2 standout moments were Jodie Whittaker's theme that played through this, and the scene where she just when it's building up to Jodie Whittaker coming down. I'll talk about that scene a little bit later. And when they started climbing up the crane. Play 2 examples now. The crane music. And the train music. That definitely took a lot more time up than I thought it would, but now you get what I mean. I thought they were personally brilliant. On to the next point, moving as quickly as we can, because that took a while, and this is 30 minutes in, and I've still got a hell of a lot to talk about. So, let's just get on to this. So, Grace's death. This seems to get mixed opinions on who saw it coming and who didn't. Personally, though, I did not see it coming from a mile away, because I was watching with my mum and my dad, and I don't know about that, but my mum, she saw it coming with instant, and I was like, eh? No. And then it happened, and I was like, what? I haven't been like hit that hard with a death, because being unexpected and also being sad, because Grace seemed like actually she would be a really good companion. Like, she seemed to be like who do I really like? The guy from the Mummy on the Orient Express. Him. He was brilliant, and especially that we were stuck with Clara. It was kind of sad that he didn't come with him, and he chose to not. Because I'd imagine it was because of all the death he suffered and the morality that the doctor was showing, with how he got straight to the point and wasn't worrying about any deaths, and I don't think he proved that. That's why I think he chose to not come. But it's felt like that, and even it was only about 5 minutes before, if that she said, "Is it wrong to be enjoying this?" And it really was kind of heartbreaking, and it really did take me by surprise, and it was kind of sad as well. Yeah, but so I mean, this is. I think for me this is a little bit more than nitpicky. This is more out of, you could put it as me liking me being a bit old fashioned, but I think quite a few people agreed, naming one big person who I know, John Barrowman. There was no intro. I didn't like that. Although saying that, it did take me a while to realise that there wasn't no intro. I think it was about 10 minutes in where I just looked over and gone, hang on, there's not been an intro yet. But it's because of how good and intriguing this story was. But I didn't like the fact there was no intro. I don't like that's the thing. This series, the biggest issue for me, this series, well, not really the biggest issue. I'll get onto that in another video. But it's an issue I have with this series, with the way it's going about intros. Because intros are one of the most iconic things about this show. Because pretty much when anyone hears the Doctor Who theme, they go, that's Doctor Who. And to take that away, I did not like it at all. Even though it did intrigue us for the next story, even though it was revealed within about straight at the beginning, because now it's at the beginning of episodes, which I personally don't mind. I know a few people have issues. I know people preferred the pre-credit scenes, but I personally don't mind. It's probably because I've been able to deal with that throughout the handful of modern episodes that done that, and the hell of a lot of classic episodes that did that. I believe there's only like 1 or 2 episodes that didn't do that. And I think that's Cash the Valver Part 1 and the 5 Doctors. There might be some more, but those are the only 2 that I can think of. But it's I don't like it. I didn't like it, Rosa. And you can watch, you saw my reaction. I did not like it in Demons of the Punjab at all. Even though it was nicely done. It was like with the Indian theme. It's not the Doctor Who theme, and it really bugs me when they do that. It's something that just really annoys me when I'm watching this story. But yeah, it's something that just annoys me. It didn't detract anything from the story, but when I watch it does annoy me that there's no intro scene. And they didn't even do it. I didn't mind it in the Day of the Doctor, since that was pretty much presented as a film. But if they even did that, it would have been. I still wouldn't have enjoyed. I still wouldn't have liked it. But it would have been better. I mean, to be honest, they kind of did do it in the Day of the Doctor, actually. Straight at the beginning. Even though it was cut short a little bit, it was still done. But when Matt Smith was holding onto the TARDIS, you know what I mean. If they did that, it would have made it a little bit more better. But it didn't do anything until the end, which I didn't like. Okay, but now on to the next bit. So, right. So I'm going to talk about the start. So I know some people didn't like the start with having to wait 9 minutes to see Jodie Whittaker fall through the train, but I really liked it because it built up to the scene and it made me even more hyped than I already was. I remember just before it was on, I could not stop saying, Doctor Who's coming back, Doctor Who's coming back, it's Doctor Who! But it was I really liked it because it built up tension, it built up hype, it built the characters enough apart from Yaz, but it still developed Yaz, so we know that she can deal with like stuff that arguments, and she can be a bit of a people's person. She's a policewoman. She's new at the job, but she's quite eager to get into like the action. So we had enough about Yaz to satisfy me, and we learned a lot about Ryan. Even though for some reason we had to wait till till it was revealed that he had dyspraxia. And Graham, I pretty much immediately love Graham, and I think there's hardly anyone who doesn't like Graham, especially that he was the one who people are worried about, and ends up being everyone's favourite. Some people just due to the fact of how on earth you had to have an old man, some guy who looks like he's the stereotypical teenager who goes around, has a pint, has a laugh, has an average job. Well, I don't know why I said average teenager, but like just like normal 20-year-old bloke. And then you have to have Yaz. Just yeah. I think it worked well. The way they sorted out, I think it worked well. But yeah, it developed them, and then as soon as it switched to the train, you could feel it slowly building up to that moment. And I forgot to mention this earlier, directing in this episode was great, especially in that train scene where it showed the driver, and you could vaguely see that ball of lightning, and you could see the driver's expression change, and then the ball of lightning charged went on in the cut. And then what you saw was the train crashed, Graham and Grace launched forwards, and then the lights started turning off all the way across this train. And then then you saw people running out of the train, doors were locked, Graham, Grace, other guy trapped in the train, and then you slightly heard some electrical pulses from the squiggly thing from Fear Her, and then they run back to the train, and the music which had just played, everything about that scene was brilliant. It was by far my favourite Dr. Reveal scene. It was by far. If I would rate it, it would be better than the 10 out of 10. There was nothing wrong with it at all, and it even gave us a sneak preview of the intro theme when Jodie Whittaker, because you saw Jodie Whittaker crash through it, and then the camera stood staring at the ball, and Jodie Whittaker popped up, and then that's when the theme played, and she was like, "What?" And turned around and see the ball. It was brilliant. I absolutely adore that scene. And the okay, so I'm just gonna get this done as well. Just a little thing. CGI I thought was very good. Wasn't too much of it that I can remember, but CGI was very good, and the cinematics of this was great, really, really good. And now let's talk about another great scene, the crane scene. Oh, how that was great. Again, great music. Don't need to cover that. No, it's slightly built, and it even just before the Doctor arrived there, it's still showing that a Stenza warrior just doesn't care. It just kills people, probably just to stick another tooth on its face. And again, it just builds up the sort of like the level of threat you feel from the villain. And it built up slowly towards that scene, and it even showed Ryan really struggling to cope with going up all these ladders and going up God knows how high, too high. That's what I do know. And it really again made us feel like vulnerability for Ryan. And it was shown in the Ghost Monument, but then it's completely forgotten about, pretty much. But and then it builds up to it. Something that I did want to know is what would have changed if the 13th Doctor's plan actually went through? Because what it sounded like to me is the guy would have jumped over, and then the only thing that's changed is that the Stenza Warrior's on the wrong crane. So the Stenza Warrior could have jumped off, killed all of them, and took the guy. I mean, it wasn't very clear. I imagine there was something more to the plan. Maybe as soon as Stenza Warrior came across, he would have, she would have set off the bombs or something like that. But it wasn't made very clear. I'm not really sure what her actual plan was. Like, she didn't say anything about the bombs. It's just something that confused me. But anyway, so I'm kind of glad that what happened where he got caught and Stenza Warrior dragged him away, and then Jodie Whittaker done an amazing jump. Just had a slight little comedy scene I think worked well. But when she was hanging and saying these legs definitely used to be longer. I think, I'm not sure how tall Jodie Whittaker is, but I think Peter Capaldi is at 6 foot, 6'1", something like that. Maybe 6'2", I'm not sure. But and then she done the tiny little speech which I thought worked really well. Directing my English today. The cinematics to that scene was really good. And then when she said, "I'm the Doctor," I remember I just smiled. It wasn't, again, as I said, it was satisfactory, but it was such a beautiful scene, and I really liked it. Yeah. But this video has been incredibly long, by far my longest review, and yeah, this is going to take a little while to edit. There might not be a Ghost Monument review up today, in which case it'll be up tomorrow. If it isn't, you might know. It depends when you watch this. But I want to get the Ghost Monument review up, but it's just gone past. It's 7 for me now, and I've still got to edit this and upload it, and then record Ghost Monument, and then edit that, and then upload it. So it might not be up today, but I would see. So yeah, so my conclusion for this story. So overall, it's great. Jodie Whittaker, Graham, Ryan, great. Yaz, I think she really did get the. She really wasn't well developed very well, but it was enough. It was enough for me to care about her, but nothing more than that. The music was great. The build-up was great. The cinematics was great. Directing was great. And there was a lot of really good scenes in this. But something that I did fail to mention earlier is there was a pacing issue in the story, and it follows through to the Ghost Monument. And it started off really. It seemed to go like really fast. Stopped in the middle for explanations. Chucked a whole lot of information at us, which was a bit, but it was fun. And then back to a hell of a lot happening. But the Doctor was great. She seemed really clever. I remember having that as one of my first thoughts. She seemed really clever and really knew what she was doing, and she really could take her enemy by surprise. And the build up to Jodie Whittaker's coming on screen was great. The crane scene was great. Even the little speech she done about her family was really good as well. And there was a lot of good scenes in this. There's a few little nitpicks and a few little issues that I have from this, like the intro, the pacing, the lack of development we had on Yaz. But it's still a very good story, so I'm going to rate it an 8 out of 10. But thank you for watching this episode. If you want to watch more reviews, then click the playlist that's going to be bottom left to top right. and subscribe if you enjoy my videos, and if you want to see upcoming reactions and a couple more reviews to catch up on Series 11, then please do stick around and subscribe. Like the video if you enjoyed it. What was your thoughts on this episode? Comment down below and tell me your thoughts. And remember, 25 subscribers, give me shout outs and daily uploads for a month. So yeah, got loads coming up, but for now I am out. Goodbye. Oh, empty pockets, I forgot about this.